to transfer pricing for tangible goods. In this particular series, we're talking about various different methods for determining the transfer price between related parties when their transaction is the sale of a tangible good. Specifically, in this video, we're talking about the comparable uncontrolled price method. In previous videos, we've talked about using an internal price and also an external price source to come up with the pricing in this transaction. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what would make for something to be truly comparable. Now, there are a number of factors that one should consider in looking at an uncontrolled transaction and ask whether the price in that transaction is truly comparable to the related party transaction that you're looking to price. So the very first item on this list is the quality of the product. Now, I think an example can make this striking and stick in your mind. People often talk about the 4 C's of buying a diamond. That's the number of carats, the cut, the color, and the clarity. I want to focus on the clarity because clarity is ranked all the way from flawless down to included, and there are about a dozen rankings in between, from flawless to slightly nearly flawless to slightly included to very slightly included, but it goes the whole range. The critical issue here is a flawless diamond is a much higher quality than something that might be slightly included and therefore sells at a much higher price. If your uncontrolled transaction is a flawless diamond, but your controlled party transaction is included, slightly included, or somehow different than flawless, that could create a difference in the two prices that you either need to make an adjustment for, if you have a way to do that, or it may say that this transaction is not comparable to the unrelated party transaction. Let's talk about some of the other items on this list. Contractual terms. The scope and the terms of a warranty that might be provided, or the credit terms, buying a product on 90 days credit, these can be very important. Just to give you a sort of idea that would drive it home is that if you had the exact same machine that you're looking to buy and it comes with a 3-year warranty, that machine would sell for a higher price than the same machine with only a 1-year warranty. Think of it like a car. If you bought a car, 2 cars identical in all regards, but one comes with a 1-year warranty and the other with a 3-year warranty, you're going to pay a premium for that 3-year warranty because you've transferred the risk of mechanical failures back to the manufacturer and you're not bearing them. The level of market can be very important, wholesale versus retail. The price of a retail transaction is going to be generally higher than the price of the wholesale transaction. When you're selling to a wholesaler, you are offloading to the wholesaler to have to find all of the retail outlets and develop a wide sales force to do that. When you're selling to the retail, you have incurred the cost of having a sales force that's calling on lots of small retail shops and getting your product onto their shelves. The geographic market can be very important. Products can sell for quite a bit of difference in one market versus another, and that may be a combination of factors, including maybe the transportation cost to get the product to that market, or the natural availability of the resource in one market versus another has driven the price in one direction or the other. The date of the transaction can also be very important. So I brought this up. This is an article that was out just in the last few days about U.S. crude oil prices. And essentially the price of oil, U.S. crude, fell by more than $2 in a single day. And if that's the kind of market situation that you're in, then a comparable uncontrolled price from yesterday is not sufficiently comparable for today. There are some markets where this can even be down to the hour or the minute. In the foreign exchange market, we use 15-minute windows to see where the market is going and to come up with a comparable uncontrolled price. The intangible property that might be associated with the sale. You might say, well, I thought we were talking about pricing tangible goods. So I'm going to make this an example to sort of drive it home. Suppose that I want to sell a flavored syrup that you can combine with carbonated water to make a refreshing drink. So picture that in your mind and think what the price of that might be. And how would your answer change if I was Coca-Cola and you have the right to sell the beverage with the brand name Coke? How much higher would the price be for essentially what would have been the same syrup, except it comes with the right to be able to label the product Coca-Cola? Foreign currency risks. This can be very important if you're selling the product from one party to another, and one party is bearing foreign currency risks. They're going to demand that they get a favorable pricing so that they can, essentially afford those risks. If I sell a product to you and you're going to pay me back in 90 days, so those are the terms of our sale, and you're paying me back in your currency, then I've got to worry about how your currency might move vis-a-vis my currency during that 90-day period. And I'm going to change my price to reflect the fact that I bear that risk. I can probably go out and look for what it would cost to hedge that risk and then figure that that would be the delta in the price. So it may be a difference in contract that one could make a reasonable adjustment for, but it is something that you ought to consider. And finally, I just want to mention that you always need to keep your eyes open for the realistic alternatives available to the buyer or seller. Just because the contract could be written this way doesn't mean that it would necessarily be acceptable if there was a very realistic alternative that was a much more financially or economically advantageous for the buyer or seller to take on. So a good cup analysis is going to look at all of these factors and judge comparability carefully, and take them into account as to whether transactions are comparable or not, or whether they may become comparable if an appropriate adjustment were made. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give us a comment or a like if you found this helpful. Give us comments and tell us how we can improve it. Have a great day.